All right. Let me know if you're having any trouble hearing me. Um, and maybe I need to switch off my microphone or whatever I'm doing. But let me know if you guys are having any difficulty hearing me. Uh, yeah, I think that's off. That's off. That's off. Um, in the comment in the live chat, I had somebody actually comment on the last video telling me that they would prefer if I put the camera on while I'm driving. That's fine. But let me know if you guys are interested. Or if you guys want me to put the camera on, then it's no problem. I'll put the camera on. If I see it in the comment section, I will put the camera on. Um, I will give it a I'll give it a couple of minutes before we get in on our major topics. Um, I told everybody that I would give a reminder about that I will be on Franco's show next week. I will remind you guys on every single one of these car chats. Um, as we get closer to the day, so you guys make sure you won't miss it. Like I said before, I'll be on with Sabby and I'll be on with RJ Shitlib. Well, he puts like I can't remember. It's something Shitlibs. I know that. So I'll be on with RJ and Sabby. Um, Say yes. Let me know as you come in if you want me to put the cam on. Let me know now so I can put my phone up and mount and just drive. But if I don't hear anything, in the next couple of let's give it 30 seconds. If nobody says put the camera on or nobody's in yet, then I won't worry about it and I'll just go on with the show. Crap, it was something that I just recently saw that I wanted to bring up briefly before this, but I can't remember it. If I do remember it, I'll bring it up in this time period. Um, okay, I'm not seeing anybody tell me to do anything different, so I'll go ahead and put it up on the mount. And I guess at the 4 minute mark, we're going ahead and get started. I don't want it to drag too late getting started and then that start to run into some of you guys' regular scheduled programs that you might watch when you're not watching my channel. And I don't want the channels to bump head and you have to choose. So I want to try to keep it tight to this time window. And I guess I'll go ahead and start it right now. Or you know what? Screw it. I'll put the camera on. Try it out. Hello, this is What I've Been Thinking with Marcus Cage, Car Ride Chats. Hopefully you all are having a great day, great afternoon. I just finished my day. It's a little warm. As you can see, I got a little bit of bouncing going on. That's the reason why I told you it might be a little different with the camera actually on, but some of you guys actually appreciate that, so I will leave it on. All right. First subject that I guess we'll get into the whole Biden and his hypocritical comments. Um, excuse me, let me grab a drink real quick. It's so hilarious to me when I hear any American politician start talking about how bad another country is at interfering in elections, or silencing contrary voices, or how they handle people who are, political adversaries or opponents. I mean, we look at the U.S. They're going to have the nerve to sit there and talk about, Putin kills all these dissenters and all this. For one, the U.S. snuffs out most of the people, so you don't even know if they were killing off people, you wouldn't know them any damn way. And it is pretty convenient that our media would cover every single possible thing that goes wrong with Russia or Putin. One thing I feel like a lot of people in the independent spectrum, I think an angle which some of them might not think about is you got to understand age does play a factor in some of these people's understanding of things. Go on, go. Um, it plays a part in some of these people's understanding. What I mean by that is a lot of times when you're entering to your adult years, the experiences which happen around that time frame have normally a lasting impact on your worldview from then on. Case in point, um, when I was in high school, Bosnia and Kosovo was a big time issue, and I did focus on Bosnia and Kosovo quite often. Being also the fact that at my high school, we had foreign exchange students, and well, not foreign exchange. Well, we have foreign exchange students too, but refugees. That's the word I'm thinking of. My hometown, Kansas City, was a sister city to Sarajevo, and so we brought in a lot of refugee students, and many of them went to the various local high schools, which I had a bunch of friends of Bosnian descent, or from Kosovo, or from many other places. I don't know why this person's calling. I don't know why she's calling me during the live stream. Everybody knows I'm doing a live stream right now. Right, hold on. Sorry about that. Um, but anyway, Bosnia and Kosovo. We had a lot of those students. We had ethnic Albanians, all the people who were being forced out of that region. So a lot of those things which went on definitely impacted the way I view a lot of things, which I believe pushed me more towards going to the military and wanting to lend a hand, because I knew people who were struggling, and their family members were being genocided and all kind of things like that. And many of them actually saw this stuff firsthand. So I'm hearing these stories from eyewitnesses, which made me feel like, you know what, we need to try to do whatever we can to help them. Well, if you go to most of the mainstream reporters or journalists, or even just a lot of the politicians, a good majority of them hit their adult years during the Cold War. So what's wired in their head is this Russia crazy, Russia, Russia, Russia. And then if you even go back to just the content which you would see as far as entertainment, everything was always United States versus Russia, United States versus Russia. Russia was always the bad guy. And so if you've been telling people decade after decade after decade that Russia is the worst possible actor, Russia is always wrong, but you never really show everybody about the United States and about the things which they do, which are not on the up and up and correct. Those are the things which are not often talked about, and that's why I talked about the hypocrisy. Um, I mean, I remember this very well. The United States, I mean, I don't even know if I want to call it interfered. It's past interfering. So that's the reason why anytime I hear, well, Russia hacked our elections. Okay, if you can find that Russia possibly tangentially did something, okay, I should care. I feel like, why should I care about that when I know for a fact Boris Yeltsin was put into power by us? We were the ones who were pushing and forcing that. I mean, you look at South America, how many elections and coups, well, in Africa too, how many elections and coups, which the United States has been right in the fucking middle of it. And then Joe Biden, I don't know, I guess I'll say how white of him. And I apologize for the people who get offended when I say stuff like this, but it's the truth. White men in power have this mentality that It doesn't matter what I did. It's about the other person. It's always about the other person. I mean, the Monroe Doctrine was the United States literally telling the whole world, hey, America's our territory, and all these other continents, which are not even, which we have no actual rulership over, we're still going to decide that you can't deal with these people. Who the fuck is the United States to tell other countries they can't deal with other countries? And when did we get to the mindset of starting to accept that and feel like that's tolerable and normalized? I guess on this one, I'm probably going to just be bouncing all around. The moment I kind of get myself stopped at the next light, I'll probably pull that clip up of the reporter, and I'll go into, for those who didn't get to hear it, you guys will get to hear it, and then, I'll give my thoughts on it. I gave some of my thoughts on it loosely the other day, but because I knew I would be talking about it today, I tagged the reporter specifically from CNN in it. I know that you're never going to look at it, but just in case, I like to tag people in it because I like for them to know that, yes, I will talk about you to your face. I don't have to hide from you. I'm not scared of you. I don't care if you're CNN, Fox, MSNBC. I don't care if you're Joe Biden his damn self. I'm not scared to say any of these things to any of these politicians or journalists or I guess propagandists is what I really call them. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Here comes the light. Boy, these people drive a little crazy today. All right.
Why are you so confident he'll change his behavior, Mr. President?
Well, and right there, I don't know if you guys heard that well. If you can't hear it that well, let me know. It started off with her saying, well, Mr. President, why do you think Biden's changed his, why do you think Putin has changed his posture? For one, who are you? I mean, the journalist, her name is Caitlin, shit, I wrote it down somewhere else. Caitlin something. It doesn't matter. Why do Americans have this mentality that Russia is somebody to be bullied? This is a nuclear power. Do you not understand that? I get it. These what I would say self-centered narcissistic journalists who all they want to do is make sure that they got, their little buzz, they got their face in front of the camera for whatever annoying ass question they feel like asking, so that hopefully they can move up the career ladder. That's what these people think about. They don't think about the implications of anything that they say. And the reason why it aggravates me is because I remember listening to dumbass reporters just like this saying shit like that. And then now when we're in combat zones, now we're getting more hostility. Now we got to worry about getting shot more. Now we got to worry about getting kidnapped more because these reporters put out this hawkish, we need to go bully somebody around until. Who cares what Putin said to Biden? It's about what actions happen. If they get to certain points, of course, the United States has to respond in whichever certain ways. But about what you think his attitude was and temper, this ain't your kid, which you send to the room and you tell them, get back here because you see that they're frowning up their face. This is another sovereign country that you have no power over. And to try to look at them as the bad actor, how is that possible for any American at all to look at any nation? I mean, think about it. Why does 42% of the world speak an Indo-European language? Because Indo-Europeans have went into everybody's fucking country and tried to dictate and tell them what to do. What I realize is, and I don't think I've ever noticed it before because it's mostly in the white liberal class. They have a real fascist, authoritarian streak in them that tells them, I need to go and dictate and tell people how they need to act. I need to go tell this other sovereign nation this or that. And here's my thing. What does this reporter think Biden can do? What? He's going to do more sanctions Do you know what those sanctions are doing right now? It's only pissing off Russia, and it's drawing China and Russia closer together. But reporters like Caitlin from CNN are too fucking stupid to get that. You're not going to think this shit is so funny when missiles start getting flying around. And now you have to worry. See, the thing which Americans have in their head is because, outside of the Civil War or outside the American Revolutionary War, there has not been boots from a foreign service on our soil. But just because that has not happened, do not think it cannot happen. And what you need to understand is the moment that does happen, something like that, reporters and smartasses like Caitlin are gonna be the ones getting rounded up. When what was his name? Chris Matthews was worried during the primaries about them rounding up people in the middle of Central Park and beheading people. Reporters who say stupid shit like that, you guys are just painting the biggest target on your back. So if anybody ever gets a hold of you, you are making sure that all that stuff you guys worry about is going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because you all think this is a game and that you're perfectly protected. But here, I'll get back into that. Let's see. Well, I might have to go back into the I have to open it back up and let's go.
Well, what did I say I was coming? I said, look, it's great. I said, what will change the behavior is that the rest of the world reacts to them and it diminishes the standing of the world. I'm not confident of anything. I'm just stating the fact.
But given his past behavior has not changed, and in that press conference after sitting down with you for several hours, he denied any involvement in cyber attacks. He downplayed human rights abuses. He even refused to say Alexei Navalny's name. So how did that account to a constructive meeting as president?
Yeah, I guess I can cut that there. I mean, it blows my mind. This country, which literally had slavery for longer than anybody else and never even paid reparations to the damn slaves, has the nerve to talk about human rights abuses. In 2021, we can't even get an anti-lynching bill. But let 4 or 5 Asian people get beat up and boom, you can throw millions at them in a heartbeat. The United States has no room to ever criticize anybody in their treatment. I mean, right now, I think it is this week, marks 50 years since the Pentagon Papers released with Daniel Ellsberg. Do we not forget about this shit? The United States has no room to ever come at anybody in a hostile tone about, well, do you think that they're doing it? And also, Caitlin, whatever, what do you think he should do? I mean, obviously, if I was Biden, this is what I would have told you. I would have said, would you like to sit in a room and would you like to bark orders at Putin? Do you want to go and tell this other grown man from a nuclear superpower what to do? Do you think that's smart? And here's what, like, I remember during the primaries when they're talking about sitting down with people, and well, I wouldn't sit down with Kim Jong-un because you didn't get any terms. It's a meeting. You're not supposed to get, I mean, what makes you think you're supposed to get something just to get a damn meeting? A meeting is just a meeting. Why do you think you get something but they don't? That's that Americanized mindset, that privilege, that we should get something and it should work for us, but we don't really give a fuck about how it works for you. That reason, that arrogance is why when I was in certain countries, I saw stuff spray painted on the walls like, fuck you Americans, I hope you all die of cancer. Because of assholes like this dumb bitch Caitlin. And I normally don't call women out of their names, but when you put our troops in danger because of your idiocy and your stupidity, I mean, to me, this is no different than watching a 4-foot woman go run up to a man 3 times her size and start cursing him out and say, "Don't worry, my boyfriend's going to kick your ass." Stop speaking for other people. If you can't do anything, shut your mouth. You're a journalist. You're a reporter. You're supposed to ask constructive questions. You're not supposed to ask questions that push us closer to a fucking third world war. That's not what you're supposed to do. Okay, and speaking of third world wars, we'll skip on over to, you already see Naftali Bennett in Israel has already bombed the Gaza Strip 2 days after his inauguration. I'm actually not surprised. I'm only surprised that it was 2 days. I figured he would at least wait a week. And they're saying that the reason why now is what they call fire balloons, which I don't even know exactly what that is. It's kind of stupid. It's kind of like they float some balloons over their own fire and hope that it lands on something to catch it on fire. I mean, it's weapons of the desperate. That's all it is. And anytime you as a nation feel like this desperate nation that is barely doing anything, barely has any kind of ability to fight you, that you need to fight back, 150 times strength, I mean, is a little insane to me. It's kind of like if a 4-year-old walks up to me who's 6 foot, 220 pounds, and punches me in the knee, I need to kick the 4-year-old in the face. That's literally what Israel's mentality is when dealing with Palestine. Palestine has virtually no ability to really do any real damage. I mean, the 11 that they killed, that was 11 that died last month. That was like we saw that after it hit like 11, literally there were no more casualties. And I think that 11 was probably just because they were kind of caught off guard a little bit, and maybe Israel's Iron Dome wasn't completely set up and prepped and ready in time, because once it hit a certain number, it did not go past that number. And you notice that the Palestinian numbers just kept climbing. Well, for those who are not familiar at why the Palestinians would even be upset and be sending these little silly fire balloons, the reason why is Israel's flag parade. Now, I know most Europeans don't understand. This is hard for them. This is a hard concept for them to understand. When you go in and you colonize an area, and then you make that holiday about the colonization of those people, to those people, that's pretty fucking offensive. I mean, it's just like part of why I don't celebrate so-called Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a holiday commemorating genocide, period. They committed genocide. They wanted to celebrate their genocide and how happy they were. And all of us as a nation have continued that tradition. That's pretty sick. It's the same thing with Israel and their Flag Day. And by the way, for those who don't know, the protesters were screaming death to Arabs the whole time. So don't think that it was about peace. In fact, I probably would give them a little bit more credit, because at least they're still honoring the fact of what their Flag Day is about. It's about whether it's ethnic cleansing by murder, or if it's ethnic cleansing by vacating these people out of the region. It's still ethnic cleansing, no matter which way you shake it. And it's still one side which is massively powerful, sitting on the side of it and celebrating somebody else's misery. And here's the funny thing about it. I was listening to I think his name's like Rudy Rahman or whatever. He's a He's a pretty boy metrosexual Zionist who walks around trying to convince the anti-Zionist Jews to be on to agree with him. Now, they actually try to follow the Torah and try to follow what it says in there, and follow that to the letter, which Zionists don't understand. Nothing in the Torah ever tells you to go in and take land. Even if God will give that back to you, and He will come and talk to you and tell, like when they talk about, oh well, back in the old days, King David did this, and you can't go into that because there were prophets who were telling him, getting direct revelations from God, telling them, yes, go and kill the Amalekites. None of you are getting that. Nobody is telling nobody in Israel, no rabbis that came out and said, yes, the Most High has told us we need to go in Israel. The fact that nobody did that means you guys are taking that all upon yourself. You guys are manifesting your own destiny. And when you're doing that, you're not following the Bible. Your destiny is in the Bible. You don't try to create your own destiny. That's what Zionists don't understand. That's the reason why some of those anti-Zionists say that Zionists are not Jews. That's the reason why some of them say that. Because, yes, they might be Jewish under the nationality. But according to the Bible, if you are not inwardly, if you don't circumcise your heart, and you're not following the walk of the Torah, then you aren't a Jew according to the Bible. I mean, nationality-wise, but spiritually, you're putting yourself outside of the kingdom of heaven. And I mean, dang, I wish I had the scripture with me right now, but no, I believe it's Numbers 35:33, where it says, "Ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood defileth the land." And think about how much blood they have shed on that damn land. I mean, honestly, that prophecy can go towards America too. That's something that they're really thinking that they can just, you can steal a whole nation. You can bring people from the other side of the world, force them into servitude for hundreds of years, and then you white evangelicals think God is going to be super cool with that. He's just going to forget it all. Keep thinking that. Keep thinking that. And in that day, I cannot wait to see your faces. Because that's the interesting thing about it. It says that, we're all going to see the judgments that happen. And, those who listen to me, you guys know how I am about following the good book. I believe in what it says in there. And when it's talking about that defiling the land, and he who leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, and he who killeth with a sword must be killed with the sword. And when it talks about that it passes down the sins of the fathers onto the children. See, a lot of Christians think, oh well, slavery was bad, but you know what? Hey, my ancestors are all dead. That don't have nothing to do with me. We're all responsible for what our fathers have done. We're all responsible for it. And we all have to deal with the consequences of those things. For instance, I'm a descendant of all the different captivities, multiple different nations within the United States. And because my ancestors came from slavery, that put me naturally steps behind people who don't have that background. To see it as different, to try to make some kind of other excuse like everybody's all equal and together, I mean, that there's no difference, is I won't even go into what that is, but it shows a complete lack of understanding what it's like in other people's shoes. And it's always funny too. Most of the time, it's always people outside of that culture who always say, well, I don't get why this is. Yes, because you're not going through it. So of course you don't get it. And of course you don't want to listen to somebody who can explain it to you. You just want to sit there and think what you want to think and look for confirmation bias. You know, the truth is ugly sometimes. And unless we're willing to deal with the truth, that's the only way we can fix and deal with the ramifications that have come from the past, is by being truthful. I mean, the messed up thing about it, what I realized in life is most people are happy with an apology. Most people, that's all they really want is an apology. But America is not even big. America's not about that. America's like, yeah, we'll do you wrong, and we're not going to recompense you, and we don't even want you to complain about it. We just want you to just get over it. That's America's way. Shoot, I got off on a little bit of tangent there. What was it? I was gonna say, oh yeah, Biden and Russia. I guess you know, as far as Putin has had the United States sanctioning the shit out of him for shit that they're doing themselves. And then Americans hop on and act holier than thou and act as if Putin is so horrible, ignoring all the shit that we do. I mean, the whole Russiagate thing fell apart, completely fell apart. But it was nothing. But it was perfectly fine for CNN to completely just run propaganda. And you know what? They can go out there, they can smear Russians and have all the Russian xenophobia as they want. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But the funny thing about it is, you switch that to another population with an ish at the name, at the end of their name, and all hell breaks loose. Why is that? Why is it that one group of people, you can talk about them however you want to? I mean, you can say anything about Russians, Syrians. You can say, you know what? It makes more sense that, yeah, Chinese people just eat a whole bunch of gross shit together. That makes more sense than the fact that a lab which is doing research on it could leak out. And the reason why that makes more sense is because, let's just call it out, let's call the truth what it is. We live in an extremely racist society. And some of these people don't even realize that they are racist. The fact that you think that Asian people are just, yeah, as a whole, are eating all these disgusting foods that caused a whole worldwide pandemic. That's racist to me. That's extremely offensive. But you guys think that that's a better way to explain something. You all think you all make Juneteenth a holiday that Black people, for the most part, have been celebrating for more than 100 years. And now you guys just want to come around and what is this kind of like our trade-off for George Floyd? Is this what you guys think this is? This is something. Oh, you're not going to do an anti-lynching bill. You're not going to do reparations. You're not going to deal with the policing issue. You're not going to deal with the racial wage gap. You're not going to deal with discrimination in the job force. You're not going to deal with any of these issues which plague our community. You're not going to deal with when we go to the banks, how we may not get a loan when we may have the same credit as somebody else, which you're giving a loan that's three times that amount. I've listened to white people talk about how they didn't even have a job and they're able to walk in and get a $15,000 loan like it's nothing. And I'll go in decent credit, and I got to do all of these hoops to get like $3,000. And I'm working. And I paid off loans in the past. America is a super racist nation, and a lot of you anchors and news people are just as racist as the very people you complain about, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Trump. You guys are just as racist. And in fact, I would say you're more so racist because Trump is doing a whole lot of hot air and ad homs. You guys are the ones who are not hiring people. You guys are the ones that are lowballing us when it comes to pay. You guys are the ones who are looking at a name, Lakeisha or something, automatically assume that she's not going to be qualified and won't hire her. You guys do that. And I know why you guys try to keep mostly black and brown people down as a nation. You're watching, what is it? I heard somebody term it as white genocide, which is ridiculous. If you guys are not having babies nearly as much, and if you guys are dying off more to opioids and suicides and mass shootings and all that, that's nobody else's fault but your own. That's nobody else's fault but your own. You can't sit there and want to attack other nations because your nation is starting to struggle in ways. What you should be doing is just trying to take care of yourself instead of worrying about vitriol towards us. And I know why you worry, because you guys have done so much horrendous shit over the centuries that you naturally have a guilt complex. It's like somebody who was a habitual cheater who never gets caught cheating. After all that cheating and never getting caught, now you're paranoid. Now you suspect everybody else. Everybody else is guilty. Everybody else is doing, or everybody else would do what you think. That's the reason why Biden is worried about China and amassing more weapons. The reason why they're worried is because, like I said yesterday, if the U.S. is amassing more weapons, they know what they're going to do with them. They're going to go use those weapons on somebody. It doesn't make sense for Americans to think, why would somebody just use guns unless they're going to go invade a country? Just like I'll hear randomly, and it always cracks me up when I hear a white male and they like to put these terms and they broad base things and put everybody, loop it in. They'll say stuff like, well, we can't share as a people. No, you can't share as a people. I've had no choice but to share. You can't share as a people. You stop putting everybody else into what greedy ass white males do. Focus on the fact of who tore up the atmosphere, who tore up the ozone. Wasn't me. Who's involved in most of the wars that are going on? Not me. Who's polluting most of the water? Not me. Who's doing all the fracking and oil drilling and messing things up and screwing up the water? Not me. Who's extincting species? Not me. There is a big problem. Everybody knows who this problem is. And it's time for those people to stop putting the blame off on everybody else. It's time for them to stop micromanaging everybody else. It's honestly time for them to just go take a whole bunch of seats down. Oh, I remember what I wanted to throw in there and talk about. Last thing before I get out of here. I used to watch TYT, and I've watched a couple of different reports. I watched Nico go in on TYT. I watched Jimmy Dore go in. And here's the thing about it. I used to watch TYT back in those days when they were kind of raunchy like that. And I used to just think like, okay, well, whatever. I mean, it was a different time. That's how people talk. But for them to try now, to try to act like they're some kind of saints that, oh, you know, this kind of behavior is disgusting. You can't do that. It's kind of like Howard Stern. Okay, I used to watch Howard Stern occasionally. I don't know. I'm not watching it now anyway. But anyway, I used to watch it occasionally. And but the thing about it is Howard Stern has never came out and tried to play this. Oh no, I haven't been a over the top shock jock most of my career. He doesn't pretend like that. TYT on the other hand is pretending. I mean, I remember what was it? And like Jimmy was showing how she had a segment on there about guess the camel toe. What was it? Guess the cleavage. And I remember another one that they had on there. They've made a lot of that stuff private, and they've taken a lot of it down, so you can't get it now. But they used to have what was it? Hot or not, you know, on every Friday. I mean, I just like one of the comments which I heard Jenks say that probably disturbed me the most was talking about it went into bestiality. Like talking about that it should be legal as a punishment to make people give oral sex to animals. And that's the kind of shit that was, it wasn't like this is so random, like this is like, oh, this is some random shit that they caught me on a hot mic saying. This is segments they wrote up, they thought about to put out to millions of people. And they felt like it was perfectly fine. I mean, I remember I defended them during the primary when a lot of people were coming after Cenk. It's because I didn't remember how bad some of the shit that Cenk was saying was. Cenk said a lot of horrible shit back then. And so did Anna. I mean, and I know some people think, oh, well, you know, it's just Cenk and Anna. John Idarola was sitting right there through a lot of that shit too. You know, Mr. Damage Report, and then he tries to get on and act all high and mighty and whatever. TYT deserves no respect. I'm glad that they've grown their budget so large that they need all that money and they need ad revenue. That the fact of that's probably going to make them drop away even faster because they're not going to be able to have the money to keep up, and you're going to start seeing people flood off of that burning ship, you know, as fast as possible, I believe. I guess that's all the topics I had in mind to talk about. I will leave it there. Hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Anything you guys would, any subjects that you feel like I should be talking about, that I should talk about, please let me know. With that said, you all have a great evening. I will catch you all tomorrow. I know I said I was going to drop that video about the Talmud last night. I'm going to shoot for tonight. That's my goal because I got two very, 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 very important ones to drop. I'm just trying to figure out which channel actually to release it on because it kind of interweaves between what I'm thinking, politics, and religion. Anybody out there who knows how to share videos, please DM me and help me. I'm not that great with the tech. If I could have, I've probably been sharing plenty of my buddies' videos before now. And thank you to my good friend and buddy Franco for sharing my video from yesterday. I guess that's about it. You guys all have a good one, and make sure you're diligently searching for the truth. If we're not dealing with the truth, then what is this all about? That said, y'all have a good one.